you ready? Are you ready to jump in?
I'm good to go.
I've got so many hard-hitting questions. It's going to be crazy.
Hit me with them.
It's not going to be easy.
Hit me with
We're
them.
probably going to both be in tears by the end of it. Okay. Bam, star wipe. Here we are. Oh no, you're a bit askew. Let me do this. Bam, even better. All right, now I'm going to tweet this out as well. Everyone, Ellie, by the way, welcome. Yesterday, I also made the major fuck up of not having a tweet ready. So I made Twitchy wait while I wrote something out. I've learnt from my mistakes today. I've actually got a tweet pre-planned, so bam, it's up.
Beauty.
It's just that easy. See, I'm learning. I'm like an intelligent, well, not a non-intelligent robot that's slowly getting more intelligent by his mistakes. I don't know if that's a thing. Okay, and also I'm trying. The other thing I need to do, Ellie, before we go live, the other thing I messed up yesterday is I didn't change my stream title from thick chat interaction over to the podcast. So people came in thinking there was going to be thick chat interaction with them. I lied to them.
And you blew it.
I blew it. I had one shot, one opportunity, and I didn't take it. Okay, so we'll do this. Oh, shite. This is why I have mods, right? Okay. Bam. All good. Ellie, all right. Bam. Okay, so how you doing? All the way from Canada, my first international guest. I'm very excited.
Yeah, fucking stoked. Thanks for having me here, man.
No, thank you. I feel very honored that I know people even across the pond. Not just Australian people. I feel like a lot of Australian people that have been doing podcasts, they're only getting other Aussies on. And I think, well, why? I mean, the great thing about the internet and Twitch is that we're so one nation. I don't know if that's a thing. You know what I mean? But how you doing, by the way? I want to ask first how you doing. How you been?
I'm really well. First, I just feel like I have to explain and apologize. Like, don't look at this. Like, stop looking at this. It's awful.
What is that?
It's an electrical box. It's like I moved my stream setup to essentially a closet, but I've kind of turned it into like my own little office.
Okay.
And I've been looking for something like some art or like a poster or something to put over top. I haven't found the right thing, but I was really hoping to find something before we went live today because I felt like,
really?
I don't know,
No.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I'm so sorry.
That's
Just
so
don't
funny.
Look at it.
That's so funny that you're wanting to have it covered up before my podcast, but it's not like it's that big of a factor for your streamers, but I think it's good. I think it gives some personality. It keeps people guessing. No, 100%. I remember actually, I've been a big Ellie fan for quite some time now. I feel like I've got to be probably one of your first.
You were the first.
Was I the first?
I don't know if you were the first viewer, but you were definitely my first sub.
No way. Oh, so you claim the fame.
Okay, so I feel like this is something that you guys probably don't know, and I have the receipts. So let me just quickly scroll through my Instagram.
Ooh,
but
here we go.
This is how we first kind of met, I think. You guys want to meet cute? Because here it is. So on my very first ever post on Instagram for my Twitch account, I posted starting my first Twitch stream. Link in bio. Okay.
You got to put that link in bio.
The MattyAP. Yeah. The MattyAP commented January 11th. Hope you had a great first stream. Was the first and only comment I ever had on my Instagram. And I was just like, people are so nice on the internet. Like, is this what Twitch is? Like,
and now we're doing a podcast. When was that? When was your first stream?
That was January 11th, 2018. So well over a year now.
Ooh, just made that 1 year mark. And you just hit your first 1,000 follows as well, I saw the other day.
I did.
Did you do anything? Did you have a big celebration for it? Did you say you were going to, did you make any crazy claims you were going to do anything if you hit 1,000?
Yeah, so people have been asking me for a while because we're getting kind of close to the 1K mark, and I decided that I wanted to do the charity stream.
Yes,
so
which I was
going to
ask about. And big fucking congrats, because you smashed your goal, which is $500 in a day. How long did the stream go for?
So it was only a 4-hour stream. Within the first
way.
hour, we had made like $200. It was crazy. People were so fucking generous. Can I
Wow.
swear, by the way? I'm sorry.
Oh, hell yeah. Sorry, you're lying.
Okay.
I love that. I'm wondering if every guest is going to ask that. I think it's like almost a standard thing that people ask. But the funny thing, I've been swearing the whole time, so that's great. Yeah, because you raised $567.30. Big. I feel like if there was a live audience, they'd be clapping right now. That's huge in 4 hours.
Thanks.
And it's funny as well because I had
Yeah.
Twitchy Coffee on yesterday as well. And we were talking about charity streams, and it's amazing how the Twitch community just comes together for stuff like that. And just all chips in and
Absolutely.
supports. What was the cause? I mean, I know what it is, but what was the cause you were raising for?
So the organization is called Care Rescue, and it's where I adopted my dog from.
wow.
So they rescue dogs, like all over North America. So my dog specifically was rescued from a kill shelter in California, and they like brought her up to Canada, and she like wouldn't be alive today without them. So
Holy shit.
they're, I know,
When you say
they're like a,
kill shelter,
mm-hmm.
They don't call it that, do they? Is that like a...
Yeah.
They call it a kill shelter. And that's...
So like, yeah, I don't know what it's like in Australia. In Canada, or at least where I live, we don't have kill shelters.
Right.
So if dogs go to, they're picked up by like the quote unquote pound or like the SPCA or whatever in America, and please, if you're American, like don't at me, like I have limited knowledge, but from like what I do know, they kind of have like a certain amount of time, but just because all of the shelters are so overcrowded and stuff like that due to like spay and neutering and just so many other issues, like they're kind of put on like a list for, let's say, 7 days, and then after that they get euthanized.
Holy shit, only after 7 days.
Something like that. Yeah, not very long at all.
Oh my God. Well, there you go. You guys heard it first. I think you know what to do. Adopt. How old was your doggo when you adopted him?
So she was 2 when we adopted her. She was an adult dog already, and we had her for 3 years. So, well, they kind of, with rescue dogs too, like unless you actually know their backstory, which we didn't really with her, it's kind of just a best guess situation with how old she is, like based on her dental records and
You're right.
stuff like that, growth chart and whatever. So they kind of guess that she was around 2. So we think she's maybe 5, maybe 6 now. But yeah, I was really happy to just be able to give back to the organization that rescued her, because obviously without them, like I would have never had my dog, and she's like such a big part of my life. And they're like a completely non-for-profit organization, so they take on like all of these vet bills themselves. Like when they bring dogs up, they have to spay and neuter them, like all their vaccinations. Sometimes they come from like really bad situations where they have to have like leg amputations, or like, this got really dark. I'm sorry.
No, this is good. I wanted to go as dark or as happy as this podcast needs to go. I love it.
Or like mange, or like any of these things where they're just in really rough shape. So the charity, or they're, I guess, a non-for-profit, but they take on all the costs themselves. So they have really like
that's
So
I can't even imagine how they'd afford that. But I guess with people like yourself raising money for it, it's helping that bit more. I mean, $500 I'm sure would go towards quite a bit to help even just one doggo. So that's quite amazing. Holy shit! What's the Twitch scene like in Canada? Is there like, I know, because I was thinking this, because in Australia I feel like everyone is very they really stick together in Australia. Like I was saying, when people do podcasts in Australia for Twitch, they seem to really only stick with Australian guests. Is it the same kind of in Canada in a way where a lot of Canadian streamers stick together, or is it not really like that?
I feel like so far I've been fortunate to like, I've gone to a few Canadian like Twitch meetups and got to meet like a lot of really cool people that way, especially like other female streamers who, obviously like share similar like struggles and goals and stuff and whatever. So it's really easy to talk to them and relate to them on a lot of different things. I made a lot of really cool interactions. And I feel like for the most part, everyone's really like supportive and welcoming, but I wouldn't say it's like exclusive. Like, I feel like probably in being from like North America, I feel like the biggest hub for Twitch is like probably California.
Okay.
So I don't know. I feel like that tends to be where most things are happening. So I don't think like people would just kind of like Canadians would stick together like with other Canadians. Like some of my best friends on Twitch are American. So
do you have any plans on going to like TwitchCon or anything, or have you gone to TwitchCon? Because I would love to go if I was close, but I figure you're a bit closer. Is there that urge to go at some point?
Yes. So I was really sad that I missed TwitchCon the last year that passed. And I kind of found out about it too late. And then I was like, okay, maybe I can swing it. But I had some like other obligations that really I couldn't get out of. And so I couldn't end up going. But yeah, this year it's a plan to go. Kind of looking into it and just trying to price things out. I think hotels and everything are like already like, booked. Like
yeah, well, that's what happened to me for even just PAX last year. I left. Well, me and CJ left the booking of that hotel till 2 days, I think, before, or a day or so before, and it was it wasn't great. I'm never good at booking stuff. Do you ever? Are you like that? Are you a bit of a procrastinator when it comes to that stuff, or is it? I couldn't imagine you are, but
I feel like even if I don't book something right away, like I'm looking well in advance.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've already kind of looked at and like scoped out some venues that I think look cute, but yeah, we haven't pulled the trigger yet. I'm still waiting. Like my wedding is this year and stuff like that.
Yeah. So well, that's damn exciting as well. How's all the planning for the wedding going? I know there's a lot usually to prep for that. And where's my invite by the way as well?
Oh, you didn't get it?
I didn't get it yet. No, I'm still waiting. By the
weeks ago. Okay.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'll wait.
Okay. Yeah, it's exciting. It's stressful. As I don't know if you had a large wedding or
look, and even that's the other thing. I mean, for the guy, I find a lot of time it's best if we just nod our head and say yes. To our partner, you know what I mean? When they're setting up the wedding or whatnot. So for me, it was pretty stress free. I didn't do a lot. I'm trying to think of what I did do. I think I organized the photography, and that was about it. Okay. I think for the ladies, I think it's usually you have a bit more input. Is that the same for your wedding, or is your other half having a lot of input in it as well? Are you kind of sharing the workload on it?
Yeah, it's funny because some things that I thought he would absolutely like not care about and let me take the reins on, he's like surprisingly had pretty strong opinions about.
Really? No way.
Yeah.
Like what are we talking?
And stuff. Well, it was a decision that ultimately we both came to. Oh God, I feel like this is going to be like a controversial opinion or just decision. Oh no. Yeah. We've decided not to have kids at our wedding.
No. Okay. So as you know, I photograph quite a few weddings, and I think it's the best idea not to have kids. They run around like crazy. They're little monsters. They get so G'd up at weddings because it's such a big fun event, and it can really be a bit of an issue. I mean, how young? When you say kids, are you saying like under 18 or?
Under 18.
Yeah. I think honestly, I don't think that's controversial at all. I think that's actually a smart plan to go about it because kids just don't know when to shut up either. Like we'll be there'll be the speeches and whatnot, and they'll also be yelling in the background, and it's just everyone kind of doesn't want to say anything. But everyone's kind of, you can tell everyone's a bit like, oh, and you see the bride at the front, she's like, oh, you've got that twitchy eye, like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. You're ruining my wedding. Yeah. So I think it's not a bad idea at all. I think it's a great idea. Have you decided like on that already or?
Yeah. So we did eventually come to that decision, but in the beginning I was kind of like, oh, for a few different reasons, but I was like, I don't really think we want to have kids there. And then he was kind of just like, well, I have like a lot of like cousins and like family who have young kids and like, is by not allowing their kids to come, like, are we going to alienate them or are they not going to want to come to our wedding and stuff like that? So I was just surprised that he kind of had some strong opinions about that. And then some stuff where I was like, oh, I think he'll have, want to have more input on this. He's like, oh, whatever, like just do what you want.
Yeah, right. No, it's good
Yeah.
though. It's good. It's good that you want to have input in it. I find, I find for me, I just didn't back then. I feel like now I'd probably have a bit more like, oh yeah, like I wouldn't mind chipping in and chiming in on this. But I was happy to let Tay take the reins on it, and it turned out well. We had a small wedding though. Is your wedding going to be big? Are you going for a big one?
No, we're going for like 80 people.
Oh, that's what we had. Well, there you go. Yeah, good number.
Yeah.
Good number. Yeah, it's more of a nice intimate setting.
Totally.
Goodness me. I was going to ask as well, obvious question. What got you into Twitch in the first place? I know it's kind of like a bit of an interviewee question, but I'm actually, I feel like I've heard the story, but I am curious again, because I'm not sure if you have told it.
Okay, so there was like a few different things. I'd been on Twitch for a while, just as a community member in like people's chats and stuff. And it was something that I was always like very curious about, but I was like, how the fuck do you start streaming? Like, even setting up like OBS and like all the technical stuff. I have technical problems all the time. Like, I don't know how to solve them. Like, my audio has been shit for most of the time that I've been streaming.
I mean, it's all part and parcel of streaming, yeah.
Exactly. So I had a friend who was really good at that kind of stuff, and he kind of got me started and helped with like overlays and everything. But honestly, it was just like I've always loved playing games, and I've always, I don't know, like wanted to be in front of the camera. So it kind of just, to me, like they both just went together so well. And then obviously like wanting to get to know people and meet cool friends and like play games with people. And that's kind of how I got started. And then what kind of keeps me going is obviously just my community, who are really great. So.
Hell yeah. I know some of them have turned up for today, which is awesome. So shout out. When you say you wanted to be in front of the camera, was there like some sort of, lifetime goals of being like an actress? Or like when you say, because usually when someone says, I want to, I like the idea of being in front of the camera, I'm just going to finish my light quickly. But
sure.
Would, what do you mean by that? Because surely Twitch wasn't your first kind of idea of what you wanted to do in that way.
It's a good question. I definitely never wanted to be an actress because like I never took theater in high school. Like the idea of that always kind of just like, I was always shit at like memorizing scripts or like any of that stuff. Like just was not
I'm the
me.
same.
But I don't know, like there was a time where I was kind of interested in like modeling and stuff like that.
Have you done any modeling before? Did you ever get into a bit of it?
Not with like an agency or anything, but one of my friends is a photographer, so I've shot with her quite a few times.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really fun. I just really enjoyed the experience. Like even the whole like I don't know if you've ever done any modeling. I
have not. It might come as a surprise to most. I haven't done a bit of modeling. I haven't done any, no.
But even just the whole experience when you like show up to the set and you've got like hair and makeup and like everything, like I don't know, I just really like attention. So.
Who doesn't? I feel like that's a big theme of Twitch, or what gets people into Twitch is just that really we all just want a bit of attention, otherwise we wouldn't do it. People that don't want any attention or whatnot would never jump on Twitch. We're all little attention whores, I guess, when it comes down to it. I mean, I know for me, like I was I was very much always enjoying being in front of the camera, just in my own little videos and whatnot. And I think Twitch was just that natural progression of now people can watch me real time and tell me how they really feel.
Right.
But yeah, okay. Well, there you go. So, you were saying as well, like you've always been into games. I know you're a big fan of Blizzard. I know you're a massive super. Quickly, have you ever been to BlizzCon? Surely that's something? I know you're a big fan.
Actually,
surely
I am a big fan. The thing with BlizzCon, and I almost went again last year because one of the biggest driving forces for me is like you can throw all the shade you want, but I obviously love playing Overwatch.
No, I have nothing against the game itself of Overwatch. I struggle with the toxic community. Do you find
Okay.
there's a low toxicity in
It's
Overwatch?
toxic. It's really toxic.
What's
We can jump back into that in a second.
Yeah,
but
no,
I feel like
yeah,
maybe I
good,
should
good.
finish my train of thought.
No, good. Yeah. I change it too much.
Just about BlizzCon. And so going back to Overwatch, like I'm really invested in the Overwatch League, which is like their professional live broadcasted on Twitch, like their professional league. So I love watching that. And so last year, the final? No, it was a World Cup. My bad. It was a World Cup of Overwatch. Was at the finals. Were at BlizzCon, and I really wanted to go for that, but sadly it didn't happen. So maybe this year we'll see. We're kind of thinking like, should we just go on like a nerd honeymoon and go to BlizzCon or like?
I definitely think you should. Would that line up with your wedding, or would that be like a staggered thing?
I think it's in the fall. They usually have it, but honestly, like we're not opposed. I don't think to like we don't need to like get out of town the next day.
Yeah. And you know what? Coming from someone that did do that. Definitely doesn't have to be that way, because it's like after such a big day, you almost just want to chill out. You don't want to have to do anything. But jumping back to Overwatch, so I do want to talk about, and I'm going to fix my light again. My light flickers a lot, which is such a pain. But otherwise people are going to probably have a seizure at the strobing effect. But jumping back into Overwatch, I played Overwatch when it first came out. I was like all about it. It looked amazing. Big Bastion main over here. Big Bastion main. Day one. And this is when you could have a team of like 6 Bastions or whatever. There was no rule on how
there was no cap.
So, me and my mate would both just Bastion up, and we'd just sit in the corner and we'd be like, we're getting so many kills, this game's easy. So big fan. And then I stopped playing just for whatever reason. I kind of fell off the wagon. And then a lovely viewer of mine, Dark Goddess, bought me a PC copy, and I was like, well, as if I'm not going to play it. So I started playing, and it didn't take long to encounter quite a bit of toxicity and hate thrown my way, clearly because I'm so good at Bastion. But I
think they probably implemented that rule just because of you.
Oh, the Bastion.
Why you can't pick multiple
most probably, yeah,
multiple
100%.
heroes.
I would say it was probably me. I apologize to all the Overwatch fans. I've ruined their passion. But have you found? You said you found quite a bit of toxicity over time. I gotta mute my words. Thank you for the follow, by the way. But what's some of the worst you've heard? Like, what's some of the worst stuff you've had? And has it made you feel like quitting the game? Or do you feel like you've got a thick skin and you say, fuck these guys, and you move on?
Okay. So, yeah, good question. I think this is like terrible to say, but just like as like growing up being a PC gamer, like I just expect this shit, you know what I mean? Like,
wow. Okay, yeah, right.
It sucks. Like, World of Warcraft, which I feel like actually was probably a more inclusive community, but like, you go to like the Barons chat and people are just like flaming like whoever for anything.
Right. Wow.
And then, other games that I played as well, where people are just like get so salty about it and take things so seriously. And then with Overwatch, like some of the things that I've heard, honestly, are like make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I have reported a lot of people.
Yeah.
Anytime it's like homophobic, racist, like sexist, any of those things, like that's an Insta report for me. But I feel like the ones that really affect me are like specifically like they're trying to get a reaction out of me for whatever reason. Like, and if it's targeted towards me, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, do you think any time that they talk in the way that they do you think it's ever do you think they're just trying to get a reaction? Do you think that's really the main reason? Because we don't hear people talking so much like that out on the street as much. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you think, what do you think it is about that game in particular? I know a lot of games are like that, but something about Overwatch seems to have, I don't know, by my opinion, it seems to be known in a way for having a slightly toxic community over other games. What do you think it is? Like, what do you think has been the cause of that?
Yeah, it's such a competitive game, or can be. There's so much like team coordination that needs to take place for your team to be successful. If you're not working together as a team, like if you have, you know, like a car and like one of your tires is deflated, like you're not going to get to where you need to go. Like if there's one person on your team who is that flat tire, like people are going to get mad at them because they're not pulling their weight, or, you know, they're deliberately, you know, just standing in spawn, like not doing anything for fun. Like they think it's funny. Like I've never personally understood that.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
But yeah, I think in other games where, I don't know, whether it's like Call of Duty or like any of these things, it kind of seems like you're in it more for yourself. Like even though it's like a team game, you're just like trying to get kills.
That is true. Which is so funny you say that, because that really does, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like that has actually perfectly explained it to me, because of the fact that I do wonder, like people say that Call of Duty is toxic and whatnot, but I played Call of Duty for a long time and never really came across really any toxicity. I came across people maybe just trying to say some shitty stuff, but not even real. Like I can't even think of a single time in that game where I've had someone that said something really horrible. But then a couple of minutes in Overwatch, I'm like, oh God, I'm out of here. My feelings are hurt. And I find it also interesting because I wasn't a PC gamer up until only a couple of years ago. I started using PC from console. I had a Mac. Which was a terrible choice, terrible purchase, but I had a Mac.
Not even gonna comment.
Stop laughing, my feelings. Yeah, I could see you're an Overwatch player. I'm just saying, yeah, my feelings are the toxicity. But yeah, so I couldn't really play many games because I had a Mac, a terrible choice. But yeah, coming from the console world to PC, I did start, like I was like, wow, what the shit? There's some toxic people. I mean, I jumped straight into like H1Z1. Which had a proximity chat. So as soon as someone kills you, they can just pretty much slag off on you. And I find it, I don't know. I learned that maybe my skin isn't as thick as I thought it was. You know what I mean? And maybe that's because I didn't grow up with it. Yeah. And do you find there's any way to brush off those kind of things? What's like the best way, if you know any, to like brush off shitty toxicity or...
I feel like, and my chat can probably attest to this, like, I feel like I don't really engage with them very much. Like, if people are going off, like, usually I'll mute them. If it's something that, like, they've caught me on a bad day, like, everyone I'm sure is guilty of this. Like, sometimes they say some things that they shouldn't have said. But if it's, like, a chronic behavior for someone, like, that says more about them. You know what I mean? Like, the problem is with them. It's not with you. Like, oh, shit, like, you know, maybe I took my healing beam off you for a second and you died. Like, oh, it's gonna be okay. Like, you know, your world hasn't ended. Like, that's a mistake.
So I can admit that. Put it that way, because in the moment, people just feel like it's life or death. When you say, I took my healing beam off you for a second, it's like, in talk, it's so silly that... to these people, they treat it like it's... I've heard... Like, I've watched a couple of... yours included, but I've watched a couple of Overwatch streams. And I haven't heard, I guess, so much toxicity on yours, but I know one stream in particular I've heard just some crazy shit. I'm like, wow, these people really feel like if they don't win this match, they're going to die. And it's crazy. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But moving on from Overwatch... I want to talk about your podcast. You've got a podcast as well, which I've listened into a bit of here and there. Do you want to explain Elmo and Friends, I believe it's called?
Sure. Yeah. You've done your research. Damn. Okay,
you know, I didn't have to do my research. I just pay attention. You know, I'm just an observer. I did do a little bit of research.
So I do have a podcast. It's on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific time, my time in Canada. And it's with one of my really good friends. Her name is Momo. And I met her through Twitch. And this is like another, like, it's me realizing like why I started on Twitch. Like, it's just making friends and meeting people was like one of my goals. We don't even live in the same country, and like she's come out here, I've gone out to see her, like, and now we have a podcast together.
Oh, like, that's awesome.
It's crazy.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. But honestly, like, our format usually is we'll text each other the morning of, we'll be like, oh shit, today's Wednesday. We forgot. What should the topic be? We'll come up with a bunch of questions to kind of talk with each other. We kind of just shoot the shit. We'll have like a main topic of conversation. We drink a lot on the podcast. It's really just a good time.
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes we get questions from social media. We'll ask like the week before or a couple days before questions that people have for us, and we'll answer them and talk about them and kind of just tell stories like about our lives. It's ultimately turned into a bit of like a therapy session for both of us.
Yeah, right. No, that's good. People love that shit because they love hearing about people's inner workings of their mind and just unloading on stuff and whatnot. People love that kind of stuff. There's a podcast, I haven't listened to it, but it's called Couples Therapy. It's Casey Neistat, the YouTuber. And his wife, they do a podcast, and Tay listens to it. I haven't listened to it, but essentially they just, from what I can gather, just rag on each other about their marital issues, but in podcast form.
That's great.
And it's like, that's super, like, people just love that stuff. Because I think as well, hearing how other people are doing and hearing about other people's life situations, you know, we might think that people are just like listening in for the dirt, but I think it helps a lot of people realize that everyone's normal, everyone's the same. You know what I mean? No one's perfect, especially in this world of just the internet where everyone seems so perfect. You know, Instagram and whatnot. I think it's nice when there's, you know, not when people are just crying on Twitter all the time about their issues over and over, and it gets a bit kind of like. But when people are a bit more vulnerable at times. I think it's good for people to see that, because then people, I'm not saying that you're being ultra vulnerable on your podcast, but I did listen in the other day on a portion of it, and you guys were talking about body image and body modifications and cosmetic surgery and whatnot, and I found that really interesting. And I want to delve in even a little bit on here, because I don't know much about the matter of that kind of stuff. And for me, look, we've had me and you know this. The only thing I've ever done that has transformed my face. If anyone doesn't know,
yes, yeah.
And this is where Ellie and I were like, oh, we could be besties.
Share makeup tips.
I brought up on my stream that my eyebrows aren't actually real. I have kind of thin eyebrows, like they're not very thick, and I've always wanted thicker eyebrows because I really do feel like they shape the face. And I think as a guy, you shouldn't have to shy away from little things that that make you, you know, maybe just more happy with the look, or make you feel. I feel like for me, it made me feel more like I looked more awake and whatnot. But I was talking on my stream about it, and you mentioned about eyebrow feathering. I think it is, or is that what?
Oh, microblading.
Microblading. That's the one.
Yes.
And I looked that shit up. And I was like,
you're gonna do it?
No fucking way. Me and Tay were both thinking like we were going to go do couple microblading or whatever.
Cute.
And I looked into it, and they literally make little cuts in your eyebrow and then rub like a tattoo ink or something, and it absorbs into the eyebrow. So you haven't done anything like that? Have you delved in?
I haven't done that. I've actually been pretty fortunate. My brows are pretty thick and full. I still do fill them in because like I like to shape them. Yeah. So like this is all like I've done that myself. But it's not at a point like if my hair was lighter, or if my maybe my brows were like thinner, then I would definitely do microblading. I've had a lot of friends who have done it, so I know a lot about it. One of my friends actually does the microblading, like she's the microblader. So yeah, from my understanding, exactly what you said, they just do kind of like tiny little micro blades essentially. Yeah. And then they put the ink in there, and it's semi-permanent. So it does last, I think, anywhere from like 9 to 12 months. And then you can go for like a touch-up. But I think otherwise it just kind of continues to fade. But yeah, for someone like yourself, if you are like filling in your brows every day, or even like I mentioned, well, a good point that you made was like, it really does like shape your face. Like strong brows like really make a face.
It's insane. People don't seem to realize that. Like I went for so long looking the way I did. I was like always thinking, why do I look so tired? Like why do I look a little bit washed out? And I started noticing around just lots of pictures of guys that just looked really good. I'm not like, I don't see myself as like a self-conscious person. I've always been happy with how I look. Well, most of the time, like when I was like a super insecure little kid, like obviously that growing up coming of age, but I've always felt pretty happy with, but I always thought, why do I look a little washed out or tired? And I remember seeing a lot of photos of guys that I thought looked good. And I thought, what is it about these dudes that look good? And I just know they all have
Strong
the
brows.
thickest brows. They have nice, juicy brows. They could be the ugliest motherfucker, but they have nice brows and they just look great. You know what I mean? Shave those slugs off and they're going to look completely different. And I wish there was more option. I wonder, like, with microblading, I feel like it hasn't been around that long. Do you think there's any, like, risk with it? Like, real talk, do you think there's any, like...
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know if there is, but like I feel like if you were to do it continuously over a period of time, cutting little, like, I know it's micro, but what do you reckon like the effects down the track could be? What do you reckon, if any?
I think if it's done professionally by someone with a lot of experience, I can see little to no long-term side effects.
Yeah.
The only potential side effects I can think of is just, let's say you had somebody who was really inexperienced, maybe they cut you too deep, maybe over time you might develop like scar tissue or something like that. I haven't personally heard of anything like that happening. Right. The other thing, maybe, is if for your home care, because do you have any tattoos?
No, I don't. See,
You don't?
I'm too much of a commitment phobe, says the married guy. I'm too much of a commitment phobe to do it. I know you do as well. I'll probably ask.
I do.
About your tattoo.
Sure,
I wasn't going to bring it up,
fine.
but now I'll probably will after.
So with tattoos, and if you guys have tattoos, you know that there is like a healing process. So it's not just like you're done. Like it's maybe like 1 to 2 weeks afterwards, depending on how big the tattoo is, what you had done. There's like color, whatever, where it kind of like is kind of gross and it gets really itchy and it actually like scabs and then like falls off.
And there's like a risk of it not healing properly and being a bit botched, right? Because I know someone that actually got like a full, like not a big tattoo, but a big colored tattoo on their arm, and it didn't heal properly and it ended up looking a little bit kind of wonky. Is that, do you reckon that's the same with stuff like microblading and whatnot?
That's what I was going to say. If you didn't follow the home care, if you like, you know, really picked at your scabs, I'm sure like that, something like that might happen. You might get some scarring or like it might be weird patchy spots in your brows. But other than that, like if you're going to somebody who has, like, do your research, if you have a reputable microblader, if, you know, like word of mouth, if you've had friends who have gone to see them, they've had good experiences, if you follow your home care, like I don't really see any risks. Yeah,
I think that's the thing, really going off word of mouth and good reviews, because the last thing you want is to go to some person that's in there,
some like janky ass eyebrows,
big hairy dude in his garage, like, sure, I'll microblade you, kid. Go on, take a seat. I mean, look, I'm also curious. I don't know if you want to delve in on this, but I've always been curious about this. I think the only other thing you said you've really done is lips. Now, the only reason I bring it up is because you were talking about on your podcast. And with that, it always scares me, like, about the process and whatnot of having lips plumped up. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
So I haven't done it yet. I'm going this week.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, because when I was listening to the podcast, I was like, oh, okay, well, that could be an interesting thing to talk about, because I've never talked to anyone that's had it done. And I've always been curious about the process, what it involves, because it terrifies me.
I can tell you the process as I know it, but I haven't personally gone through it yet. So I could kind of give you some like information afterwards, kind of like off stream. But from what I understand, there's a few different techniques. And again, it depends on like the expertise and the training of the person, like your injector, basically. But it's essentially hyaluronic acid, which is like a naturally occurring...
Couldn't they give it a bit more of a sexy name or something? If
I know.
What's it called again?
Hyaluronic acid.
Jesus,
Are they abbreviated?
I'm sure they will.
HA.
I never really got to think of a better name for that, but okay, yep.
And essentially, it's like something that's naturally occurring in our bodies, like it already exists.
Okay.
So it attracts moisture to the area, which gives fullness. So
Right.
when they're injecting the acid into your lips, it brings moisture from different parts of your body to that specific area to like plump them up and make them fuller.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of like a gel substance. So it's like, they call it filler. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's really interesting, because is that like a new technique? Because I thought, honestly, this is my narrow knowledge on it, but I thought Botox and whatnot was like a thing that they put in lips, or is that not a thing? Am I completely misguided?
Botox is what I've had Botox done as well, so I can talk about that.
Yeah,
if
okay,
you're
yeah.
curious.
I'm curious. I'll be real. I'll be 100% real. I have like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it, but I thought about Botox, and I thought about because I heard, because I have like wrinkles in my forehead, and I think, well, what if at my age I have them? What if they get really deep, like Gordon Ramsay deep? I'm talking like angry.
Yeah.
And it does make you look like considerably older quicker, having the forehead wrinkles. And
Definitely.
also, am I breaking up a little bit? Do I sound fine to you?
You are breaking up a little bit. Like, it's mostly your video though. Like, your audio is still fine.
Okay, yeah, I just saw video
it's
connected.
probably
It's just
just
it's just dropped down to red there, so hopefully it picks up. But yeah, I looked into it, and I thought, well, it might not be a terrible idea if it's like the way of the future. But I just think, don't they jab a needle into your forehead or something and put some stuff? I don't know.
They do, but
Okay.
even though I've had like tattoos and piercings, like, I'm such a baby when it comes to needles. Like, I almost passed out just sitting in the chair with the amount of anxiety that I had caused myself,
Oh,
like
really?
freaking myself
Wow.
out. And I was
Okay.
like telling my doctor, I'm so sorry, like, I'm gonna pass out, like, you just need to give me a minute. He's like, do you want a juice box? And I'm like, yeah, bro, I want a juice box. Yeah. So I sipped on my juice box, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready. And it's so
is this
quick.
for the
Like,
Botox? Is this okay? Yeah.
yes, for the Botox. So I have it in a few different areas.
Yeah.
I've had a brow lift done
wow.
because one of the things that I was kind of self-conscious about was, like, I've also had it in my forehead. That was kind of like an afterthought, just because I was there already. And he was like, you're starting to get some static lines. Like, while you're here, do you want to just like poke them? And I was like, sure.
Really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
easy, huh?
but it's so quick and so easy, and it doesn't hurt at all. Like, he uses this little, it's like a little like vibration tool, which tricks your body into thinking, because, like, okay, so if you have like your skin, and then beneath it you have like different layers of tissue, right?
Yeah.
So there are different like sensory receptors in different layers of tissue. So, like, your pain receptors are like deeper down. I'm giving you a fucking biology lesson.
No, this is great. No, I'm actually really curious. I'm all about this.
Grab your notebooks.
Yeah. Or refer to this podcast if you've got a big test coming up.
Yeah. So what happens with lighter sensations of touch, so like vibration, or something like that, it tricks your body's pain receptors, because that's what they pick up. They're like a faster moving signal to the brain than your like pain receptor.
Yeah, okay.
So they use that at the same time. So they like put this little vibrating thing on your forehead, and then it goes like boop, and he like injects it, and then he's like, okay, it takes like, it's so fast. I was like in and out in 5 minutes.
And so you don't feel really anything when they do it?
No,
does it feel weird afterwards?
Like,
because obviously it's tightening up the face or whatnot, isn't it? Tightening up, like,
it is.
And you don't feel different
instant
after? Oh, it's not. Okay.
Yeah, so it takes about a week for it to like fully take effect. Like, you will probably notice like the smoothing of lines or wrinkles or whatever like pretty immediately, but then over the next week it's going to start to tighten up. And the only thing that I can really explain it as is, another reason that I was really interested in Botox is, like yourself, I am a sufferer of like headaches, migraines, like all those kind of things.
Right. Yeah.
It's because obviously I strain, but I have like had a very like expressive face and forehead and like eyebrows and everything.
Right.
So when all those muscles are active, like, it just creates muscle tension in the face, and you might end up getting more headaches. So
I'm definitely
am I,
not getting
changing my life
ideas
right now?
again. I'm definitely not about to go to Google my nearest Botox injecting clinic. Right, I didn't realize that was a benefit of it. I thought it was pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I froze up a bit there.
I can still see. Oh,
Yeah, no, it's all
your
good.
stream
So,
is frozen, but you're good. Okay.
it's freezing up a little bit. I think I had a GeForce driver update thing come up, and I think it's thrown a few things off. It might come good. Ooh, I'm wondering if maybe. Tell you what, do we want to? I don't know if that's turned mine off. Because we might restart the call if it. Oh, there. Oh,
That's fine.
That does the thing. Oh, I don't want to do that though. How do I go back to just? Oh no, I put you in the wrong thing.
Oh, you're live now. You're live now. It's fine.
Oh, it's good now.
It's like readjusted itself.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll fix this panel up here quickly. Oh, Matt, you've gone and ruined everything.
I think if you double click me.
Oh, really? Oh,
I think so.
Perfect. Genius. All right.
There you go.
I've learned so much on this podcast.
Oh, shit.
Is it still good? Is it lagging up or?
Oh, wait. Oh, no, I see you now.
All right, good.
But I'm huge, though. Wait, I'm huge, though. Are you going to fix that?
What do you mean?
Oh, no, you fixed it. I'm just a lag. I have lag on my side.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Yeah, no, you're good.
It's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. I didn't realize, with Botox, I didn't realize it had benefits on headaches and whatnot. Because I do feel like I've got a saggy ass forehead. And it feels like I'm quite expressive.
I wasn't going to say anything, but...
I don't know. I feel like I'm very expressive. And I feel like that's the cause of it. That, my forehead does a lot of work.
So that was a problem that I was having too. And the only way that I can explain the way that Botox feels is that I'm discouraged to kind of make those really expressive movements with my face just because it feels like it almost looks like there's a resistance band.
Really?
Like if you were about to a little bit, yeah. I can still move my eyebrows and stuff,
God,
but
so
obviously not as much as I used to be able to, which has decreased the amount of headaches that I get.
Wow.
And now my forehead is like
weird if I
baby's
did, because if I couldn't move my eyebrows, I'd feel my completely real eyebrows. I don't know. I feel like it'd be so odd. I don't know. It's one of those things. Were you worried going into it as to how it would change your appearance, or was there any hesitation, or was it let's do this? Because surely going into something like that, it's, I don't know. Yeah, continue, sorry.
I was a little bit hesitant just because I'm hesitant to change I don't know. I want to make these little enhancements, but I don't want to completely change the way I look. You know what I mean? Talking about the lip augmentation, I don't hate my lips. I just want them to be cooler, more full. And the same with Botox. I was starting to get a lot of eyebrow sagging, which sucked. And it was something that I was kind of self-conscious about. So the biggest thing that I went in for was the brow lift. And I love that. And I've gone in multiple times since just to get it renewed. But the other thing too is that it just wears off in for me, it really only lasts 4 months or so.
Oh, really? Right. Okay.
So if you didn't like it, or if you were I'm finding that I don't like how my eyebrows are less expressive now, or any of these things, you just let it wear off and your body reabsorbs it and it goes back. And because it's a natural substance they're putting in, right? Oh, well, Botox, that wouldn't Botox is different.
Yeah, that wouldn't be natural.
Botox is actually, and it kind of sounds scary to think about, so I wouldn't dwell on it too much, but it's actually it's like a toxin.
Okay, and I would love to know who was the first person to be let's put this in our heads.
Right? Totally.
That's pretty wild. Oh, actually, I watched I think it might have been in My Strange Addiction. You know that show, My Strange Addiction?
Oh my God, I do.
Oh, that shit. I love that stuff. You might have seen this. God, I don't know if this is what it was, but there was a woman who was so obsessed with getting Botox injections to the point where doctors started denying her because she was so addicted to it.
Oh, wow.
And no, this might have just been an article I read. Shit, now I'm thinking.
Okay.
But she ended up going home after getting denied.
Oh no, did she try to do it herself?
She injected cooking oil into her face. And there was photos.
Turn it off.
Cooking oil.
Oh
And
my God.
I think it was just an article because her face, I'm sure you could Google this. But her face was like, it looked like a potato.
Nobody Google that.
Google it. Yeah. And it's like, there's a point where people, I guess, don't know when to stop. And it's a scary part of, I guess, today's day and age that we see people that are constantly just striving for perfection. I mean, you look at all these celebrities who are getting work done and whatnot.
Yeah.
What do you think the line is, in your opinion, like when it comes to beauty modifications and whatnot? Like, where do you think people kind of cross the line?
Right. I think, I guess that's like for everyone to personally interpret themselves.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. But for myself personally, and what I kind of touched on earlier was just that, like, anything that I'm wanting to do is like an enhancement of something that I already have. So like really just highlighting like specific features of my face. Or I mean, it's the same thing with makeup, right? Like makeup is an enhancement. The way that I do my makeup is meant to like highlight certain features of my face, in the same way that I am looking to get a lip augmentation, in the same way that I enjoy getting my brows lifted, stuff like that. So I feel like, and again, this is just only I can only speak for like myself, but I feel like as long as I'm just still like honoring myself, and not like completely trying to change who I am and how I look, then I think that's the line that I don't ever want to cross.
Yeah, because it's kind of crazy, because I didn't realize how common, I guess, as some people would say, going under the knife is, because that's, I guess, going under the knife is more different to just getting injections and whatnot. But we have a show here. Please don't judge me, everyone, because I was very...
Is it Yummy Mummies?
No, it's not. Yeah, what, I don't even know what that is, but should I be watching? Are they all about
I watched
that
all the
live?
Australian shows.
Wait, is that an Australian show and I don't know about it? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Goodness me. No, this is Married at First Sight, which I'm sure you guys have.
I've seen it.
The Australian one?
Yeah.
Wait, this Australian season where there's been some infidelity and whatnot. With like
I didn't watch the whole thing, and I don't mind if you spoil it for me.
Oh, but, okay, there hasn't been any infidelity at all.
Okay.
No, well, it was crazy because, you know, there's quite a few, beautiful women on the show, a lot of handsome men. And you go, wow, these ladies are quite lovely. And then they were all talking and all saying that they've, of what they've had changed. Like, I've had my nose fixed, my chin's different, this and this. I'm like, what the fuck? You just wouldn't pick it. And it's,
right.
And it's kind of crazy because it seems more common than it used to be. And I wonder if that's because now it's not as noticeable. Whereas back in the day when people got stuff like that done, it was almost horrifically noticeable, to the point where you'd say, why did you get that done? It makes people look weird, you know what I mean? Do you think there's been like solid advancements in it to the point where it is just,
I do.
It's changed so much from then? And that's why it's common.
I think that it's a huge industry. I think the world's obsession with beauty and like staying young is going to fuel that industry forever. The point where like they're making so much money. Like if you look at, let's use like Beverly Hills for an example, because I feel like that's kind of where a lot of that might come from. If they come up with new technologies and it works, like people will spend so much fucking money on it. Like it's a huge racket. Anyways, and then they start to kind of normalize procedures like that, and it trickles down through social media, and then we consume that and we're like, oh, maybe my under chin like isn't as like thin as I'd like it to be, and like I noticed that this person had this done and maybe I can look like that and stuff like that. So I don't know, I feel like social media is really like propelling this. And especially with, this is something we talked about on my podcast, with like Snapchat filters and Instagram filters, like people want to walk around and look like they have a filter on their face.
Yeah. What's your opinions on that? Do you think that's a healthy, like, do you think it's a scary way the world's going, or do you think it's fine? Like, it is, because personally for me, I do think it's a little bit scary that we all kind of want to look almost a little bit similar in a way. We all go for this one. What I always wonder how we came to this this point of this is perfection. This is what beauty is. Yeah, and that's it. That if you don't look like that, you're fucked.
Right.
And I just think like social media is a bit of a scary place. I mean, but then it's funny because then when people put up very real photos, people don't seem to want to look at it. People want to look at beauty. People want to look at, you know, stuff that they can see themselves trying to achieve and whatnot. Do you think it's a dangerous place we're going, you know, with social media and the beauty standards and whatnot?
I think that, it's been a dangerous place for a while. I think that it keeps getting scarier.
Yeah.
Because even, and like one of the reasons that I don't use Snapchat, like Instagram filters are one thing. I feel like mostly they change the color composition, stuff like that. They maybe like give your skin a bit of a glow, which like we could all use a little glow in our lives. But what really bothers me about Snapchat is there's that one like beauty filter, and when you put it on, it completely changes the structure of your face.
Yeah, which is
like,
well, here's the crazy thing as well. With my Samsung phone, I moved over to Samsung a while now, and I noticed only recently, I don't know if they've upgraded the camera and whatnot, but the camera has an option to like, I guess it's more so to fix it kind of compensates, of course, because you know when you open that front facing camera you're like whoa, and it kind of fixes the distortion that camera has, but it also just at the same time makes your eyes bigger, makes your face a little bit more proportionate. And I'm just thinking, what the fuck, how do we know? And that's why so many people I find from photo to photo can look so different, and or when you see them IRL you're like whoa, okay, this is crazy. And it is a little bit scary because it's hard to know what to believe, but I guess more impressionable people see that stuff and I guess it's shaping a generation that's going to grow up to not really know what's real.
Exactly. If you're like a 13, 14-year-old girl and you're already, you know, going through high school, having like a hard time with your body image, and you're on Snapchat and you now have a filter that makes your eyes bigger and it makes your nose narrower and it makes your chin pointier, and you look and you think that you're really happy with the way that looks, and then now you look in the mirror and you don't look like that, like, of course you're going to want to change things about yourself. Like, I think it's kind of toxic, actually. Yeah,
it's like a real skewed perception, and it doesn't let us own up to just our own imperfections, which I think everyone should be in a way owning up to it and just accepting in a way. I mean, I think if there's safe and affordable ways to change ourselves slightly, like you said, enhance and just, you know, adjust to some of the stuff that we know. But I guess there's a point, you know, like especially going on the knife and stuff, which is kind of scary, that it's where's that limit. I guess I refer to the lady that injected the cooking oil, because she's one of those cases where you just go, what the fuck is going on here? Because it's almost at that point it becomes a bit of a mental illness, for the fact that they clearly are just dealing with some demons, to the point where you know that injecting cooking oil in your face is not going to make you look better, but away you go and do it. It's a scary time. I think for people like you and me who are a bit older and we don't feel as impressionable, it's okay. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, I guess, over time, the effects of like the younger generation who has had nothing but these things to grow up on. And I'm just curious as how time will play out. But I think at the same time, you know, beauty science and whatnot is a complete marvel and blows my mind still at what they can do. We were talking even just before the podcast about even hair transplants for guys that are going bald, and how they can, you know, I was talking about Elon Musk, how he's had clearly a hair transplant, and And it's funny because I always kind of said if there was a cure for hair loss, everyone would be walking around with a beautiful head of hair. But obviously, it's one of those things that there's just a bit of a buy-in. But I've heard it's also just that you roll the dice a little bit. It's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah. There's what's becoming kind of like increasingly more popular too, and a little bit more like mainstream, is kind of these like small cosmetic enhancements for men, which previously like you wouldn't really see.
Yeah.
But it's just like enhancing, like you were talking about, like the strong kind of masculine features of your face. So what's becoming really popular is like a really strong jawline. So people will get Botox and fillers along their jaw to really sculpt their jawline.
Wow. Okay.
Something like if you have, let's say, your nose and it maybe like dips down a little bit, or maybe it's like a bit crooked, you could get like filler in your nose to just make it like a strong line, so it's like a bit more of like a prominent, quote unquote, masculine nose. I don't know, all these things, like you were talking about hair loss, there's like, I've seen treatments where they they take your blood.
Whoa, okay,
and they straight into it. They spin it in like a centrifuge, so it separates the blood plasma. They take your blood plasma, which I believe maybe has stem cells in it, but then they take like a needle gun and they like do needle therapy with your own blood plasma in your hair, which is supposed to re-stimulate hair growth.
Wow. Holy.
Yeah.
That's the science behind this is insane.
Right?
I think there's going to be a point where they will figure it out and hair loss will be a thing of the past. Because even women deal with hair loss. It's not like it's just a male only thing. I think it's definitely a real confidence thing, and it shapes your face and gives you something you can really change in your appearance. I think I'm almost surprised they haven't nailed it yet, but it shows that this kind of stuff just isn't there's no clear-cut way, and I guess everyone's different. Everyone takes to things differently. But I was going to ask as well, have you have you seen the show Botched? I've no real
Botched.
question.
I haven't actually, but I have seen that it exists. It's just like these botched, like terrible plastic surgery.
And they fix and whatnot. If there's anything that's ever going to stop me from getting plastic surgery, it's watching that show because it shows the actual procedures. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, never would let a knife near my face. Like, they showed the nose being cut. I'm like, okay, I struggle. I'm a bit of a queasy boy, so I think stuff like that I couldn't imagine.
Me too.
You know what I have a fear of? You can tell me if you think this is somewhat normal. I have a fear of being put to sleep. I've never had it happen. By like
super normal.
Yeah,
super normal.
Do you have that fear as well? Am I normal in that?
Like I do have that fear as well. I have been put out before a couple times.
Yeah, right.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Because I was talking about recently, this is like a pretty weird offshoot. I was talking about my stream like a while ago. I think I've mentioned it a few times that I actually I find that I have a slight fear of sleep, not like a crazy one, because when you think about sleep, it's a bit of a trippy.
You're just unconscious.
Yeah,
you're just unconscious,
and it trips me the fuck out.
Like 9 hours.
So sometimes when I'll go to sleep, I'll be lying there, and if I think too hard about sleep and how I won't exist in that moment, I freak out. Like I kind of I don't freak out. I don't go start screaming, but I kind of go, shit, this is going to be interesting. I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know. Just a weird thought. I just had that because I'm just thinking going into the night.
I think that's normal. Yeah. And I think things maybe are like that fear maybe for you is like amplified a little bit when you're talking about like medically being put to sleep.
Yeah.
So
because then you know shit's going to happen while you're.
Well, exactly. So if you already kind of have like a slight fear of just being unconscious and kind of, for you, is it like you're scared that you won't wake up? Like, is that
no? It's just
it's
just see it's comes down to the same reason. I guess I don't drink alcohol and stuff like that because I'm very much I don't like the idea of not being in control of my mind or just my conscious. And I think that's why one of the many reasons why I don't drink, but it's because I couldn't imagine not being in full control. And I think as well, sleep is the same kind of thing. It's you can't control what's around you. You can't keep yourself safe. You're completely this vulnerable being that's just lying there, and you just don't exist in that time. Essentially, to yourself, it's not to scare anyone, not to make anyone go, "Oh shit, Matt's right." That is actually terrifying.
Sweet dreams.
Everyone have a good night tonight. People are praying about to dip off the bed who aren't from Australia, so yikers. I was just thinking that because it was just I couldn't imagine being. I've never had to go under, be put under. Is that what they say? Put under. I just couldn't imagine it. It'd just be, and especially on top of that, they're going to cut you open. I don't know. Watching those, I think it's just watching as well. It sounds like botched, and seeing that they're completely out. They're just like a mannequin, in the slice them up, and I'm just like, holy shit. But moving on from all of that.
Oh no, I have a question. I have a question for you.
Ask away. I love it. Oh, actually, as well. Hold that thought. Yes. I'm an idiot. I meant to tell everyone that we've got a Discord channel just for you, that everyone can ask questions. If you haven't joined the Discord already, please do. And feel free. We've got a channel. I can't show you guys, but if you go to the Discord channel, just under podcast, the very top channel, whatever you call it in there, it's Elifaine questions. Feel free to throw a question in there that you'd like to ask Ellie, if any. I know I've thrown that in super late. But if you've got any questions about anything that you'd like to ask her, please fire them in there. Even if they're weird, I don't know, just fill it up with questions. I'll filter them out, and I'll ask Ellie in a little bit. How long do you have, by the way, Ellie? I don't want to.
I can go until, so for you.
It's 5 now.
What time is it? Is it 5 o'clock? I can go until 6 your time.
Oh, easy. All right,
that's
perfect.
Midnight for
all right,
midnight for me. Yeah.
All right. So make sure you guys get some questions in, and I'm also sorry if I keep freezing up for you on your screen as well.
That's okay.
I know my video connection keeps going dodgy. What's your question? Sorry.
Okay. Are you like a vivid dreamer, and do you remember your?
This is a good question. For so long, I never dreamt. I never had dreams. When I was a kid, I remember dreams from when I was a kid. And I went through a stage, I'd say like most of my late teens, early 20s, where I just never dreamt. I'm a very heavy, I was at least a very heavy sleeper. I remember Tay always telling me about her dreams and whatnot, and I'd say, I just don't dream. I can't even imagine it. Like, and I believe that everyone dreams every night when you're asleep. Your brain's always, but it's, I guess, if you're a deep sleeper, whether you remember them or not. I feel like more recently, I've had dreams. I had a dream last night where I was just outside in this weird open kind of, it was this weird courtyard area, and there was like another streamer. I don't know them, but they were there. I don't even rewatch them, but they were there just watching me. And then my mum came down like a scooter or something. That was weird. And then she gave me a big hug and gave me a heap of candy. And then my dad rocked up as well. And I was like, I can't eat this candy. It'll hurt my teeth. And I woke up. And it's like, how weird is that? What the fuck? What does that mean?
Okay.
So yeah, so that's my extent of dreaming. It's never anything too crazy.
The reason I ask is because, well, for 2 reasons. One is that on one of our episodes of the podcast, both Momo and I are both like pretty vivid dreamers. And so we kept like a dream journal for the week.
Wow.
And then we talked about all of our dreams and like their interpretations and the meanings like on the podcast, which was like, it was really cool. But the other thing that I was going to say for you that might help to potentially tackle some of your anxiety about just not feeling in control is like dabbling in lucid dreaming. Have you ever done that?
I've heard of lucid dreaming. I actually I don't really know what it is. Is it like dreaming awake? Is that like some sort of like being aware while dreaming? Is that the kind of concept? Okay.
So basically you're aware that you're sleeping and you're able to control the narrative, what happens inside your dream.
Right. I wouldn't even know how the hell that's possible.
I'll send you some info off stream. I'll send you like something.
There's no quick and easy kind of like tutorial right now. Like what would like because it seems mind blowing that you'd be able to know what you're doing, like, and how you'd even get into that. Because I feel like dreaming.
Do you guys want like a crash course? You want a crash course on lucid dreaming?
Hell yeah, we want a crash course on lucid. I'm very curious about this. Like, I can't imagine how you'd manipulate a dream, or even I'm curious. I'm very curious.
So, how I kind of learned to do it, and I will just say, like, if you've never lucid dreamt before, like, it does take a lot of practice, and like, don't give up if you like don't get frustrated and just like give up. Like, it takes quite a few times, and sometimes even like weeks, just to get the hang of it. And you might not necessarily lucid dream the whole time that you're sleeping. It could just be like for part of it. But what I was finding is that because my mind was so active still, like it wasn't really ever a time for me to like shut off. And I think kind of opposite of you, like I need those times where I'm just like out, like I need to just like insulate myself and isolate myself. And just
I want those times, but it's that kind of tug of war.
Right. But what I was feeling when I was doing a lot of lucid dreaming was that I wasn't really waking up feeling like super rested. Like it felt like 8 hours would just go by like that, because I don't know, I was so much was happening in my dreams, and then I was like, oh, I guess it's time to go to work now, but I didn't really feel like I had woken up from this like restfulness.
Well, in a way, I'd find that's not just with lucid dreaming. I find that's with any dreams. Like if you have a dream leading up to, even like I said, I had that dream pretty much before I woke up, and I woke up feeling a little bit like, whoa, I don't feel completely awake, like ready to get up. I feel like I need more sleep. I feel like I just had some weird ass situation. I find if I have a full night where I feel like I'm just constantly dreaming, which is rare for me, I do find that I wake up feeling like I is lucid dreaming more so like that? You feel almost exhausted from it? Yeah,
a little bit tired. Like, I don't know, it just felt like you never went to sleep. Like you're not necessarily like physically drained, but your brain's maybe just a bit tired because it didn't really get a chance to rest all night. Like you just felt like your dreaming state didn't really happen, and now it's just time to start the day.
Yeah, right.
Wow. But how you kind of, like a beginner's guide to lucid dreaming, from what I've heard and from my experience, was that you're supposed to take like the last dream that you remember. So for you, being in an open field, like remember as many details as you can. So open field, there's another streamer there, like your mom comes in. And so you try to like remember as many details as you can and put yourself in that scene. And then from there, start making decisions, like kind of treat it as like a choose your own adventure. Like then you're basically just using it. It's kind of like an imaginative tool where you're like, okay, maybe.
Is this when you're awake? This is after the fact?
While you're falling asleep. While you're falling asleep.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. So just taking, I don't know how long it usually takes for you to go to sleep, but if you are a quick sleeper, then as soon as your head hits the pillow, start thinking about those things, and then eventually you'll start drifting off. And then you can even tell yourself before you fall asleep, or like right after you have, like, I am dreaming. So that like your body and your mind, like, that you're dreaming, and then from then you can start to make decisions and you'll actually be asleep.
I just don't even know. Like for me, there's so many spanners in the works. Especially as well, it'd be very like hard for me because I can't sleep without sound. So I always need to be listening to something or whatnot. I always have headphones in when I go to sleep.
Really?
Yeah, because I have slight tinnitus, or tinnitus, as some people would call it, which is the ringing in the ears. Yep. Which doesn't bother me that much, but I just don't like having. I've always, since I was young, always had sound in my room or whatnot to sleep. So I think now, if I tried to sleep without it, I'd struggle. So I find it really hard to do that. The lucid sleep, like you'd have to do it without any other you'd have to be in a completely quiet environment, I'd imagine, because you have to be focused on that. It'd be, I don't know, maybe I'll try it and I'll come back with it sounds terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. Something about it sounds terrifying. It sounds like some sort of science fiction, like being able to hack your dreams or something.
because the thing is like if it doesn't work, then you're just worst case scenario, you just fall asleep.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But best case scenario, then you just basically get to do whatever you want. If you want to like be Superman and fly through the air, like you can just fucking do that. You know,
Oh,
like
hell yeah.
it basically just gives you control. Like
Use it for good, not evil, people. That's all I'm saying. Great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, that's crazy. I'll let you know what I find.
Try it tonight. Yeah.
Oh god, see for me, I know
it.
I'll hop in a bed and be like,
do
nah, I
it.
just want to let some weird YouTube video play in my head. Do you know what I've been watching a lot lately? Have you? Okay,
What's
now like you're gonna don't judge straight away. You know ASMR, right? You know it's kind of a big thing.
Yes.
Have you done any ASMR? Did you do like ASMR at some point on stream?
I've done some like joking ASMR.
Okay.
Like I'm not serious about it, but I kind of, and this is no hate to anyone who actually like enjoys ASMR or who is an ASMR streamer.
Attack me. Okay.
I'm about to offend you big time. But
okay, yeah.
no, I just like, I think it's kind of funny. Like, and again, I'm not like making fun of anyone who does it, but no. I think when I do it, it's just like for humor,
for
like,
yeah,
you know, leaning in or whatever, or like we've done, I was playing with a few of my friends and we were doing like a guess the ASMR challenge where none of us could obviously see each other's. I think the three of us were streaming or something like that. Yeah. And we were all over mic and we all had like good quality microphones. So we were just rubbing things up against our mic and trying to guess what sound it made, which is like a really fun experience. But other than that, like I don't watch ASMR. Right. I don't really actually do ASMR.
Have you tried watching ASMR or have you just not cared?
Like a little bit. A few streamers that I watch who also play or who play games are also like ASMR streamers. And so I've been in their streams before where I think maybe that they're going to be playing a game and then they end up doing an ASMR stream and like I'll stick around for a little bit. I don't get it personally. Like it doesn't do anything for me. Like I think it's kind of relaxing to listen to. It kind of makes me feel like we're at a slumber party, you know, like brings me back to like my childhood with my girlfriends. But no, like I don't really get any enjoyment out of it. I could see how other people would, though. I saw this one clip on YouTube of like a woman eating like a pickle ASMR, and I was just like, "That's a bit too deep for me."
Okay, so here's my my stance on it. It's been ruined. ASMR has been ruined. Okay. I find it funny because I actually unknowingly was into ASMR before it was titled ASMR, before it had a name. So that's why I know it's a real thing, but people have sexualized it to the point where everyone thinks it's a creepy phenomenon or an excuse. And it's a shame because the crazy thing is I when I first found that I was really relaxed by sounds, I was watching an unboxing of a guy opening a camera. Like I like
stuff like that though. I think it sounds like, again, it doesn't like, some people get goosebumps, like it doesn't do anything that for me, but I like this like unboxing sound. Do you?
But yeah, I get like a real like just a real calm feeling, like my whole body relaxes. It's weird. Sound is incredible. Like even like I'd watch like Yu-Gi-Oh cards being opened. I've never even collected Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but the sound of the packets being
opened. Don't lie to us. You collected Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
No, I was a big Pokemon fan.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Oh my god, we got a fan. Well, okay, I bought 1 or 2 packs a couple of years ago that were being sold for really cheap at a Kmart.
And
I got a card that on one of the websites said it was going for like $50, and I was like, well, I should sell that. And I never did. I should have. I was like, why is this worth $50? I think it was shiny, but it was literally just a picture of a rock, and I was like, it's weird what people deem as worth something. It's, you know, I think even just cards in general. Did you ever collect like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon? I mean, you said Blue Eyes White Dragon. It sounds like you know more than you're letting on.
I never really. So I played both of those games. Like I was never really a collector of them, but I played Pokemon like with the cards.
Really, you played? Wow. So you're like on the other end of the because I know for a lot of people it was the collecting and people just didn't care about the card game, but you went in on the actual game of it. Wow.
Yeah. In elementary school, my brother and I played Pokemon a lot.
Oh,
and
awesome.
then him more than me got into Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I didn't have my own deck, but a lot of the times just like we were the only two siblings. Like so at home, you know, we would just like watch Pokemon or watch Yu-Gi-Oh, and then he would rope me into playing the card game with him.
Yeah,
so like I
right.
learned how to play, and so I know some of the cards, and I have watched a lot of the show just because he liked it.
Yeah.
I'm a really good sister.
Yeah, my sister never did anything like that for me. She was a bit of a
No.
jerk. I'd ask her to play stuff all the time. And now she acts like she loves games. I'm like, where were you when we were growing up? She's like all obsessed with games. So yeah, no, you're a good sister. Because I find it kind of funny because some of the cards nowadays go for thousands. Like, well, maybe like Charizard, obviously in Pokemon, the original set was like worth $100 when it first came out. If you had a Charizard, but now people are selling like the first edition ones I was looking at for like $1,000 or more, and it's like crazy as a society. Crazy. I know it's rare, and I know it's historical in ways. There's a piece of cardboard at the end of the day, and even I'm like, I wish I had the money to buy it. But it's crazy what we put value on. Because it's
just kind of like first generation anything. Like I feel like this was kind of before my time, or even just like what I was interested in. But I know baseball cards were, and maybe they still are, like a really big thing, like collector's items, or even like, you know, old cars and like stuff like that. Like anything that seems to be first generation old is worth a lot of money now.
It's almost like the value is set by us as humans. The value doesn't exist. Like we make the value depending on the demand for it. So it makes sense, but it's just wild. I don't know. It's just wild. Just a thought. But what I was going to ask before, I actually am very curious about this. Very curious about this topic. I noticed, actually I noticed this a long time ago. I noticed something else. You have a couple of like affiliate links in your panels and on your actual screen as well when you stream. I know one of them's Untold Threads, and I also saw you had Secret Labs, the chair manufacturer, on there as well.
Yep.
So I'm very curious about those two brands and how that came about, and what role they play in your stream, what role you play in their, I guess, business. Like what's kind of like what was the go with that? Like what was the come up on that?
So the one between the two that I've had a lot more like direct contact with the company, and they are the ones who reached out to me, was Untold Threads.
Okay, yep.
Which is a great like clothing company, very simple or similar to like Into the AM style stuff, where they have a lot of like galaxy print. They have hoodies, leggings, like bandanas, like a lot of cool stuff. And it's all that like, super like galaxy gamer stuff.
It's very in the galaxy stuff. I'm definitely not opposed to it. I love the look of galaxy stuff. I just feel like I couldn't wear it, but I think it looks dope. I think it looks awesome.
You could totally pull it off.
I feel like I could, but I just wear so much black. I don't know. I struggle to wear colors. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
So yeah, they reached out to me on Instagram, and they were like a new company, and they were like, are you looking? Basically, they were like, this could be mutually beneficial for both of us. You could help kind of grow our brand, and we could help kind of shout you out. Like if you're wanting to do a bit of modeling with some of our merch and stuff like that, we'll give you like an affiliate link for your followers. So I think it was when I hit 500 followers, I did a giveaway of their merch. And so they like hooked me up with a bunch of stuff to give away, which was really cool. And I got a bunch of stuff for my own, and it's honestly just good quality stuff that like I wear all the time.
Yeah, that's dope.
And so that's how that kind of came to be. I would like to do some more giveaways with them in the future. I think since then they've also grown and like added more merch and products and stuff. So it'd be cool to like get some more of that stuff and do giveaways. But that was really fun. I like giving away merch. And then Secret Lab, honestly, I don't really remember how I came into that one. I kind of, and this is like They've been very nice to me. I feel like there are, like, if I'm going to be sponsored or like affiliated by a company, I kind of want to be able to like give something back to people. Like, I loved how Untold Threads gave me like the discount code for other people so they could, you know, if they are interested in stuff that I'm wearing on stream, like they can get their own.
Yeah.
And through supporting me, like I want to give something back to them.
Yeah.
With Secret Lab, and I've heard that they have like incredible products. It's just a straight commission link for me where it's like,
so if someone buys a chair, you get
then I get a portion of it.
Okay, so it's not like an affiliate link of so much where you have a discount code. It's just if people buy a chair through thing. Yeah, because that'd be hard because it's not like a sort of thing you'd sell a whole heap. Like, it's not like one person would buy more than one chair. So it's, and
they're very expensive chairs. Like, I've heard that they're worth it. But honestly, I can't even afford one. Like, I'm affiliated with them, but I can't even afford one.
I've been wearing a Secret Labs chair for so long. If I get one, I have to use your your affiliate link.
Yeah. Thanks, dude.
Because I've been wanting to use one, get one for ages. They look great, and I have heard that they're very comfortable.
But I was kind of under the impression when I originally applied for that affiliation that there would be some sort of discount code, and then afterwards I was kind of like, oh well, this is fine, but I think in the future I would also be interested maybe in another gaming chair company that would be able to offer my community something more.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, because it's a hard sell when there's nothing in it for the person, that when there's only something in it for two of the people, there's no real like push for that for the viewer or someone in your community to click that link and use it, other than giving a shit about the streamer themselves.
That's right.
Yeah, marketing and on their end, it would be beneficial if they could give a little bit off. But I noticed they don't give like hectic discounts even when they do it. In Australia, they had like a special, like they were hyping it up like crazy. This big discount. It was like $20 off a chair, which is $20 is $20, but the chairs are crazy. Hopefully I'll get one day. But it's just kind of marketing is definitely like tricky. You see a lot of people with like partnerships and brand deals and whatnot, and it's hard. Like it just depends on how. I mean, it's funny as well because you see the people like Ninja who clearly are getting paid like a shit ton to promote something. What do you think makes it worth someone like in our position that's not Ninja with millions of followers? What's the biggest pull for someone to ask you even to market their product for us? Is it having some sort of like discount code? Is that like the biggest kind of sell?
That's a big thing for me, definitely. I think I have to like I've had a few other companies reach out to me too and offer like I don't know, save free shipping on your first order or whatever for my followers. Like, not necessarily like a reoccurring discount code, but some sort of like monetary, they'd be saving something by getting it through me or whatever. But it's stuff like electric toothbrush companies and stuff like that, where I've kind of like polled my community and I'm like, do you guys want this? Like I don't care about making money. Like, I just want to like be able to give you guys something because they support me so much. Like, I want to be able to give something back to them. Kind of how I think about it. So anyway, it has to be something that either I genuinely like was really stoked about Untold Threads and like I genuinely enjoy their products. I wear it on stream, off stream. Like, I like it. I've had a lot of really good feedback from my community too, but I'll often just like, if I come across sponsorship like deals, I'll just straight up ask my community, like, do you guys want this?
100%. Where do you find most brands are like hitting you up? Like, what medium do they? Is it through Instagram?
Usually it's Instagram. It's usually Instagram.
I was because I wanted to ask you. Actually, I had a kind of more prompt earlier on, but I kind of skimmed past it. About the power of Instagram, because I know you use Instagram a lot, and it's how I found your stream.
Yes.
Do you think the power of Instagram for Twitch users is underrated? Because I feel like not a lot of... I'm always kind of disappointed when I look at a Twitch streamer's panels and they don't have an Instagram. I like to do a bit of stalking, a bit of creep up. But, it's nice to see even where they've come from. I know my Instagram tells a bit of a story, shows just the humble beginnings of just my setup and shows like my journey through just my evolution of streaming so far. And I think it's a more powerful tool than people realize because it's a bit more of a quick glance than Twitter is. What's your view on it? Do you think people are sleeping on... I know people aren't sleeping on Instagram, but as Twitch users, I feel like it's quite powerful. What's your views on it?
Well, I think like one of the things that people like that viewers crave and really enjoy about Twitch is like, I know I'm so guilty of this, and like I'm so sorry if I've ever done this, not to you personally, but just like to someone. Like I'm more likely to leave someone's stream if they don't have a face cam.
Oh, that's not a...
Male or female, doesn't matter. Like, I want to, like, connect with the streamer. Like, I know 100%. You and I have had conversations before where, being a variety streamer sometimes sucks because your argument, I think, is that a lot of people on Twitch only like watching for specific games, and then once you switch your game, like, you lose half of your viewers kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Versus, like, when I have people that I follow, I'm following like because I like them. Like I don't give a shit what game they're playing. Like I'm sticking around to support them.
Yeah.
So I feel like one of the great things about Instagram is it kind of like carries that through like offline. Like when you are offline of Twitch, it's kind of like they still get to see you and interact with you through either your Instagram stories. It's just kind of like a little glimpse into like what they're doing when they're not sitting in front of their computer.
Yeah, and especially with the Instagram stories, like obviously that's Instagram's answer to Snapchat, which I'm surprised Snapchat still exists after Instagram stories came out. Did you ever use Snapchat? Was that ever
I did use Snapchat, but not as like a streaming tool because I had already quit at that point, but I was using it with just my friends and stuff like that. And I thought some of their filters were really cute. Like it was before Instagram had their stories and had like the dog filter and stuff. But like Snapchat was really like lit for a while where they were the first ones to really innovate the like filter, right?
Yeah. Do you think that was like the main reason Snapchat was a thing? You don't think it was like the whole novelty of sending messages and then not and then them disappearing? Look, I used Snapchat for a hot minute. I just felt like I had no need for it. So I didn't really get amongst it. But I was always curious about what the pull of that app was. And I guess the filters were a big thing because they were like a pioneer of that kind of AR tech. But as well, I always thought it was funny, I always thought it was silly because I want to be able to go back and look at messages. I don't want my messages to be... I have a terrible memory. So Snapchat is Snapchat doesn't... it's not a good tool for someone like me who forgets what someone said like minutes later.
I think that maybe one of the things that wasn't great about Snapchat, and luckily I was not the recipient of any of this kind of attention, but I know when something is on a timer and you only get to see it for 1 or 2 seconds, like I feel like the content that people were putting out there was maybe more dramatic or crazy than like it should have been. Yeah. Where maybe it was like inappropriate or I don't know, just like I can't really think of any examples other than like sending unsolicited pictures to someone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like that was maybe one of the downfalls of that. But I feel like Snapchat is kind of died, has it? I don't know. I just don't use it.
It's so redundant now. I think the only reason that I really hear people using it now is premium Snapchats, which is
that's right. So like paying,
so they can really lock people out of which I mean you can lock. You can make your Instagram private, but I guess it's a different thing. But that's all I really know of that. But it's crazy because even sending unsolicited pics, just seems to be a thing that on Instagram now, it's not really something that a lot of people shy away from. Tay's never said she's had anything like that.
Yeah.
But
the thing that's
it's like I hear a lot of people say it's a thing that's a bit rampant. I always find it's kind of crazy for so many reasons.
Yeah. I know a lot of celebrities and people, even like larger Twitch streamers, say that they receive a lot of that kind of attention.
Yeah.
I think what's great about Instagram, it seems like they have a bit more of a filter on that kind of stuff. Like when you receive a message, even if it's a picture message, you won't be able to see it unless you're mutually friends with that person.
Yes. Yeah, they put it into that. Yeah, and they won't see if you've seen it as well, which I love that about.
That's right. I love that too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
so if it's in
I was just gonna say there's that level of privacy that it was nice to get back a little bit after the internet just as a whole seeming to think that it was a good move to show when messages have been seen.
They've been read, I know.
Read, and I'm just like, oh man, like when that started to be a thing, I guess Facebook maybe pioneered that a little bit. And I was thought, why? What's going like I remember seeing that become a thing all of a sudden and just not be able to process why the hell they'd think that was a good idea, and now it's just become the norm. And it's a horrible thing. I don't want to know if someone's seen my message and not replied to it. I don't care. I just want to let it be, you know?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, so what's great, I think, about Instagram is that anyone not on your friends list gets sent to that separate messages folder.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even read mine. I don't look at them.
I'm point,
like, if we're not friends, like, I don't really want to hear what you have to say. Yeah. And I'm certainly not opening like a suspicious message from you.
Yeah, exactly. So. Do you think not opening some of those messages you've missed out on opportunities, or do you think there's slim chance that because you said there's a chance that you'd have people hitting you up for sponsorships and stuff
totally
through that?
So one of the other great things about Instagram is you can kind of like they'll show you the first maybe like sentence of the message.
Exactly, yeah.
So gives you an idea. If you were to open it, it gives you like. Usually companies, I think, know that, and they start off with like, and you can see their picture too. So if it looks like it's maybe a professional branding and they're like, hey, like opportunity for whatever, like maybe I'll click on that. A bit more, and then at the bottom of their message, it actually tells you how many followers they have, which I think is a great tool as well. Because if they are a reputable company, they're going to have more followers, kind of maybe tells you that they're a bit more legitimate versus the like guy who has like 4 followers and is like ABB, like send me pics of your feet, Do
you reckon there's people that legit? Do you reckon that's just a meme, the fake thing, or people are legit?
No.
Goodness,
it's actually a thing. Yeah.
Look, I have nothing against feet. I had a friend that was completely grossed out by feet. I remember he used to say, "Bro, feet are so gross," and I was like, "Oh, feet are fine. They help us walk." But I've never seen like the sexual side of feet, which is so weird. I just couldn't tell if it was some sort of Twitch meme, show feet, because Twitch for a while there, I don't know if this is a rumor. I always kind of said it as gospel, but now I just don't know that showing feet on stream was a bannable offense. And it's like, is it like this whole? I don't know what to believe anymore. And
oh my gosh, I don't think it is.
I know, but it became like a thing where people were like, don't show your feet because you might get banned. And I swear I read it somewhere like a while back, like for a minute they made that a thing. I could be wrong. If someone digs up evidence, that'd be hilarious.
That's really funny.
But I was like, surely this is just like an in-house Twitch meme. Raw says feet is literally one of the biggest fetishes, if not the biggest. I don't get it. Why do you think that is? Like, is it because do you reckon it's just because it's different? Like, it's just so weird? Like, it is probably like the weirdest, like people have picked like the weirdest, most obscure part of the body you wouldn't think to fetish size, and just it's so random.
Like, let's break down the psychology here.
Of like the foot fetish person's brain. It's like I can't even begin to think, but maybe that's I don't know.
I don't know. No.
Nothing.
I'm genuinely like thinking hard, but it's not. I can't.
But I think in saying that we have no idea how people could be into it is the exact reason why people into it. Because do you reckon some people get into it because they like the foot stuff because they're just trying to be different and unique? You know how people like to go for that unique, like they're like,
it's like an indie band or something.
Yeah, exactly. They're fetish hipsters. They like the feet and they, you know, it like
that must be it.
It's got to be something like that. It's got to be like,
yeah,
in a way.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the like regular stuff is too mainstream for them, and so they've got to go deep. They've got to go underground.
And they're going to get really disgusted when feet becomes mainstream, and they're going to get really filthy about it. They're going to have to pick something.
They've got to go
like,
deeper.
They're like, oh no, they've taken everything. Feet were the only thing we had left. I just yeah. I mean, it's a sort of thing. It's people are so desperate to be unique these days. Especially with the internet making everything seem normal, people are just looking for like that next really left field thing. And I guess that is as left field as you're going to get. I couldn't think of a more weird thing to, but hey, you know, I'm not judging by the way. Just
You're totally attacking like half of your chat right now.
I know. Maybe it's more widespread than you think. I mean, maybe it's like, maybe people just don't want to own up to it, but it's like a real big thing. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, goodness. I can't even imagine. Well, you know, good luck to everyone that's into that stuff. Not that you need it. I don't know, judgment. All right. Well, this is going to be a question right here. You know, this is a bit of a, maybe vanilla question or a standard question, but I'm curious about it. What are your goals like coming up with streaming? What, like, even short-term goals, long-term goals? Like, where do you want Twitch and streaming to take you? Like, what's kind of like the ideal, like, obviously you know, it's the journey, not the destination, but what's the ideal kind of place to end up?
Yeah, I'm like really proud of how much I've been able to grow my community this past year, and like obviously I just kind of show up, like I just show up and press record, you know. Like, I think that a lot of it or most of it has come from the support of my community. Like, they're so fucking supportive of me and it's crazy. So I really enjoy what I'm doing. I would just like to grow it on a bigger scale. I still work like a full-time job.
Yep.
And so I would love to work that job, maybe even starting out like one day less a week, and then being able to stream an extra day a week where it would start to become more of like an actual reliable source of income for me. So I could still support myself. But this is something that I love to do, and, you know, maybe eventually would love to make it like a full-time thing. If it was sustainable for me, I would definitely do that.
Hell yeah.
But I think more tangible, realistic goals is just to grow it bigger and to eventually start working less of my actual IRL job and more of my online job. Yeah,
awesome. So full-time is something that you want to, like, that you'd be happy to reach one day? Because I know some people out there, they're like, I would want to do this full-time. But I think for a lot of people that is like the ultimate kind of end goal. But even then, it's like once you reach full time, it's that, you know, it's continuing to then grow it. I think that's the great thing about Twitch. It's a never ending challenge to just keep being better and growing and whatnot. Is there anything like content wise that you want to progress at any point, or are you happy with where you are? Obviously where you are is fine, but like, do you have any kind of like ideas in your head that you kind of like, I'd love to implement this? Obviously some of them might be completely under wraps, you know, but is there things that you kind of like, I'd love to try this, or I'd love to try this, or are you kind of like, fuck it, what I'm doing now, I'm loving it and I don't want to change a thing?
I think so. The charity stream that I did on Sunday was the first time that I'd ever done anything like that.
Yeah.
I think that for hitting, you know, additional like milestones and goals and stuff like that, I'd definitely be open to doing stuff like that again. I think it was like a really fun experience. And it was also like, I don't know, it was nice to, obviously when you were talking about using Twitch as like a source of income sometimes, it was nice to give to someone else, like to another charity. And I was just like so proud of my community, and that made me really happy, just that they were so generous in supporting like something that I cared about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd love to do more charity streams in the future. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the podcast is still small, and I'm still looking for ways to grow that. Like, we've only been doing it for maybe been a weekly thing for maybe, I think we're on episode 6 or something like that.
Yeah, you beat the 5 episode curse, as I call it. Getting the 5 episodes and then calling it quits. You made it past it. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we're still looking at that. It's called Elmo and Friends because initially we did want to have, like, both of us to have a lot of people that we've met through Twitch and would like to have on and interview and stuff like that. But so far it's just been really selfish, and it's just been about us.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think that's great. You're building like a real familiarity with that kind of thing. I mean, that's the thing. First and foremost, people want to see you. They turn up to your stream for you. So I think that's the best thing. I think that's great. And then, like, do you have plans though of moving into that world of bringing other people on anytime soon, or are you happy going the way you're going with it? Like, I mean, what's kind of what's the end goal for the podcast? Like, what are you looking at having only like Twitch people? Are you looking at growing? Is it just friends, or are you looking at growing it into something bigger down the track? Or
yeah, I think for now, like, we're pretty happy just to have it be our friends.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not opposed to, like, in the future growing it to something. Like, it's hard because both Momo and I, obviously, like I mentioned, we don't live in the same country.
Yeah.
So our podcast format is exactly what we're doing now. It's like over Discord. I don't even know if we could get a third person, like, through a video call. Can you even do that? Like, we haven't really thought of that.
As far as I'm aware, I've seen other people do podcasts where they have like 8 people on and stuff like that, which is a fucking shit show. Because you can imagine 8 people all trying to talk. It's
trying to
mess.
talk at once.
I'm pretty sure you can have quite a few people in a video call, which sounds insane, but so the option is there.
Yeah, so looking into stuff like that. We also want to try to grow it off Twitch a little bit too, like through iTunes or something like that.
Is it up already on like a audio streaming service or anything like that?
It's not. Momo is slowly taking them, and she's the audio tech wizard, and she's editing them all, and because we basically just record them live from Twitch, and then she wants to cut out, whatever stuff and make it presentable. So eventually the goal is to have it on like an audio streaming service, but so far it's not.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'm getting them up on those streaming services there. It's like easy once you get it up, but the figuring it out, because obviously I had the Cactus Cult podcast, which I hit the 5 episode curse and stopped. And so if I make it to Friday, by the way, if I make it past Friday this week, we'll have beat the curse. I'm just saying.
When you make it.
When I make it, let's not jump the gun too quick. But yeah, it's a whole weird beast. But gee, people that edit their podcasts, I have big respect to them, because I just one, I hate to cut stuff out because I like everything, unless like, I remember doing the Cactus Cult podcast. There was every now and then, because we didn't do it live. And there was a few moments where I was like, I don't know if I want to be on the internet saying anything I just said, so I'll cut like chunks and stuff out. But yeah, it's one of those things like it's the audio side of podcasts. I know that's like the originality of podcasts, but it seems like the way a lot of podcasts are going is very much a visual medium. Because when I did the Cactus Cult podcast, people kept saying I was putting up on YouTube just so it was easy access, because not everyone has just the access to know where to get podcasts and whatnot. I know it's dumbing people down, but Tay didn't know for a long time where to get podcasts. I kept saying, you should listen to podcasts while you work. And she's like, I don't know where to get them. I just listen to music. And now she loves podcasts. She worked out where she can listen to them on Spotify and whatnot. And now she loves them. Every time I go past, she's listening to some sort of podcast. But it seems like people expect that there's a visual medium to them. And it's like, almost, do you think a podcast can or can't grow if it isn't on a audio streaming service? Or do you think visual, just doing it on Twitch, is like viable enough to grow? Like, I mean, it is, I guess, where people most know you from. Like, or another question is, do you think spreading, this is something I've always thought, do you think spreading, say, like a podcast or any kind of medium like that you're doing, across multiple platforms, do you reckon that's beneficial to growth? Or do you reckon that's almost spreading your viewer base too thin that it doesn't, I don't know, it's a weird
kind of, it's a good question. It's something that I've thought about. I think honestly, like it's funny to say that I think Wednesdays when I do my podcast is like of the week, that's like the day that I look forward to the most. Like I find it so fun, but in terms of actual like live views, it doesn't actually generate a lot, like compared to any of my other days. But it has a lot more, I would say, like VOD views after the fact. People will go back and watch them.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're already a partnered streamer and you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, like, of course, do whatever you want. Yeah. But for like people, like, I don't know if you are trying to push towards partner, but like eventually I'd like to get there. I guess going back to my goals for Twitch, like I would love to be partnered.
Yeah.
And when, you know, live views become so important, like, I don't know if it is super viable on Twitch. I know I have a lot of fun doing it. And from kind of my core people who watch, like, they all seem to really love it.
Yep.
But it's almost like people don't know me as someone who podcasts, or because it's so new. People don't know me even that much as like an IRL streamer, because I would say traditionally I just tend to play more games than anything. So I think when people come in my channel, they're kind of expecting me to play games. So I don't know. I think it definitely could be a bit of like an untapped market. I don't really see a ton of podcasts on Twitch. I think what you're doing is really cool. I think a lot of your audience knows you for and loves you for being kind of like a just chatting IRL kind of streamer. So I think this makes so much sense for you. But yeah, I think it's definitely possible. I just think for me, it's a bit out of character for my content, even though I'm loving it.
I mean, it's funny because I feel like anytime a streamer changes their direction on what they're doing, even for a day, it does take an audience. People seem to sign up for like one thing and one thing only, and then they don't like to see a change, which I always find so weird because, like we said, we're very much, we find a person that we like on Twitch and we follow them for their personality, and it almost doesn't matter what they're doing. It just matters that they're doing it. It does seem like a lot of people are very heavy on the content that they're creating while they're, it's very odd, but yeah, people almost need to be conditioned. It's almost like you need to really stick at something long enough that people go, that you bring in an audience just for that thing that you're doing. Even when I moved to doing IRL out and about streams for a while, it seemed like people were not so much interested in that. It built like a new community. It brought new people in. Yeah, it's Twitch is a weird beast where it just, people really segregate what they're into and they don't really seem to waver. Not everyone. Some people do. But yeah, no, I think keep up the podcast. I want to listen to more of it.
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of it. Now I know I've taken up a shit ton of your time. But I do want to quickly ask this. Like, I think at the moment Mustafa was the only one to ask questions because I plugged it way too fucking late. But he had a couple. I think he had one. I've actually asked one that he's already pretty much asked, and the other ones are, do you like living in Canada, eh? So yeah, I'm guessing you do because you're still in there. And I would actually love to travel to Canada. It seems beautiful. But the one question that I know the answer to already, but I think it's a funny question. He says, "Would you stream your wedding?"
A lot of people have asked me this.
Really? No way. Okay, that's funny.
A lot of people have asked me this. I can't see me recording or live streaming the actual ceremony. But one thing that I possibly have considered is maybe doing like a 20 to 30 minute IRL at the wedding.
No way. That's
like
not a
maybe
bad
I'll
idea.
bring yeah, like
I mean, no pressure, obviously.
I have a lot of I have some friends IRL who will obviously be at the wedding. I have some Twitch friends that are coming to the wedding. I have like some friends that have been guests on my stream before that like chat knows and stuff like that. So it'd be really fun to kind of get them all in like, even if it's on like a shitty phone, you know what I mean? Just for like a couple minutes just to kind of like celebrate, I think would be really fun. But
100%.
I can't guarantee or make any promises because from what I've heard, the day just like gets away from you and flies right by. So
yeah, it does. How long is your wedding going for? From like start to finish? I mean, a standard wedding seems to go roughly around 9 or so. I mean, the full day if you factor. I mean, that's the thing. If you're factoring in like, I guess, the preparation and whatnot. Because I'm going off like obviously doing photography for weddings and whatnot. The days can be super long, but they fly by if it's your own wedding. I know all my couples that I photograph say that, and yeah, you might like I found even for my wedding it was very hard to even get time to go around and talk to everyone, so that's there, and I only had like 80 people, so yeah, you might find this blast past, but hey, if you manage to stream it, I will be there. Because I'm pretty sure that invite's not going to get here in time. I'm just saying, it might not get here in time because I needed to book flights and accommodation, and I'm sure you will miss me there. I'm sure you will. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. I second guess, and can I just say, I've had a blast. I know maybe the topics have been a bit more left field of what's expected, but I hope it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed hearing your input on just different kind of things. I think the one thing that you said, I actually watched the end of your stream yesterday, just a portion of it, and I
was a little bit drunk, so I might not remember.
Oh, really? Because you're like, Matt sucks. I don't know what about this podcast.
I don't remember saying it, but it is true. So.
Oh, god damn! I feel it to the core. No, you said that I hadn't prepped you or anything. Hadn't given you any questions and whatnot. And I thought, shit, should I be giving questions for guests to because I feel like that's not the format I want to take the podcast. You know, I don't want to be like, so what do you think about this and this? Like, I want it really to go off. Like, I want to listen to what you're saying and then kind of branch off that with just kind of what I am curious on next. You know what I mean? I have like a whole notepad full of questions and whatnot that are catered to you being on, but I feel like it does seem to be nice to go in just any direction that just feels normal. I don't want it to be like a Twitch based podcast because I feel like that's just a generic same thing every stream. Do you reckon though, what do you think, like is there like benefit in prepping guests beforehand, or do you think it's a decent format just going off cuff?
I think going off cuff is better in my opinion. Like, yeah, I think I was joking around. People were asking me like, what's the topic of the podcast going to be? Because, you know, like for our podcast, we have like specific subjects and topics that we like talk about the whole thing every week, because it's like for you, when you're bringing on guests, you want people to get to know the guests. So you have all these questions and they're going to be different every time. Or maybe there's going to be like, why did you start on Twitch and stuff like that? That'll be similar. But I feel like this was a really good format. I feel like it's more of a conversation than like a formal sit down interview. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The conversation flows a little bit better. And obviously, you can go, it doesn't have to stay contained to like just Twitch. Like we talked about Botox for like 45 minutes. So
exactly. No, and you know what? I found that actually extremely interesting because I've obviously had my queries about it. And I've never sat down and talked to someone about it. And I think it's interesting for anyone to hear the ins and outs and whatnot, stuff like that. And I think I think if it was the same thing every day, especially doing it 5 days a week, I think it's good to learn a little bit about the person that's on, of course. But I think as well, delve into just topics that are off the cuff, but maybe slightly catered to the person. But that way it keeps it hopefully interesting for everyone. Because the way I was saying it yesterday is that I worry that people are going to, if they see someone that they don't watch on as a guest, like it's not someone that they're so much interested in because they don't know that streamer. They're like, I don't know this person. I don't want to watch this podcast. I kind of worry that if it's always just about them, like just bam, 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 this is about their life, people are going to be like, well, I don't need it. But if they feel like there's some sort of something they can come away with that's just topical and fun, that it might be a bit more all inclusive. I'm hoping that's kind of the pool. But yeah, I had another person that's going to be on next week, which I'm very excited about. I haven't said who it is, but he said, well, are you able to like send me just through the questions, like some of the questions?
Don't do it.
So I can be prepped and have some good answers. I'm thinking it's not really what I want. Like I don't really want you to be prepared. Like I want to, because I don't want there to be an expectation of where it's going to go. I want it to be more like a conversation. So
I think having people's genuine answers and their genuine reactions to your questions is probably what you want, because it seems like you're trying to create like a more authentic kind of experience than having like this rehearsed production, you know what I mean? So more like a conversation. Losing my voice.
Sorry, I know. Yeah, I gotta let you go because it's been a long one. But yeah,
no, it's good.
Yeah, good. Well, I hope you've had fun. I've had a fucking blast. That's 2 for 2. That's 2 bangers I've had so far. I've loved every minute. Of course, what kind of host would I be if I didn't let you plug all your social media and your Twitch stream and whatnot? Is there anything you want to plug that we have or haven't already talked about? Like, where can people find you? What can people watch or listen to you on?
Sure. So my Twitch is obviously just Elifaine, the same. I don't know if it's in the title. It is definitely. So you can find me there on Twitch. Same name on Instagram, just Elifaine, and on Twitter, because I suck, it's at Elifaine, but there's a 1 afterwards for some reason. I did notice. So I was like, didn't get it.
Really, there was an Elifaine already taken.
I guess. I don't know. It just like, I didn't even really get to choose my thing. I just like put in and like auto generated this thing for me, and I was like, I guess this is my name now. I don't know. I'm kind of mad about it, but
that is roll with it. Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah. But thank you so much for having me. Honestly, like it was so fun, and thanks for sharing your community with me. You guys are great.
No, honestly, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. I know that one, it was pretty late notice that I hit everyone up kind of about coming on, and the fact that I had nothing to show anyone of what this podcast was going to be like, or what was going to be involved and the format. I felt very blessed that so many people came back and said, yeah, I'll be on it. We've booked the next 2 weeks, like this week and next.
That's amazing.
And I was so stoked that you wanted to be the second guest, because obviously there's people that I feel more comfortable chatting to. And Twitchy was very much a great guest to have first up. I'm glad you're second. This week's just I'm very hyped, and I hope that at some point I can get you back on at some point. Because obviously doing it every
absolutely.
day, we can chat about some more stuff. Ellie, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
Elifaine, go check her out. Make sure you go follow her on all her socials and her stream and podcast. And goodness, thank you again. I don't know what to say. I guess this is goodbye, but we'll meet again. We'll meet again. Ellie, take care.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, have a good sleep. Thank you for staying up. Catch you, Ellie. Take care.